shows what he is. What is when he says sticks and stones will break my bones. Arrows also will hurt at me, but I will fight on. And that's what Shailesh is. He perseveres and perseveres and perseveres. I give you Shailesh, give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. And to the young people, we have some very renowned people down here. People who have done a lot of work in governance as well as in leading the city. Satyabir Gaur, he was Additional Chief Secretary Government of Maharashtra, IAS. Aruna Bharti, Aruna Bharti, Pune and IAS. Suren Agarwal, who's been one of the founders of the Mohalla Committee movement. Sheila Krishnan is how your city has become clean. She is the one who sponsored all this work of segregation of garbage, and no one introduced Mr. Rao when he came. Mr. Rao has been the past president of the National Society of Clean City, and he's been done wonders. Oh, my wife is also a professor, retired professor of English literature. She is also here. Okay, then thank you all. And can I ask Dr. Gurpur to felicitate Shailesh? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would now request Dr. Shashikala Gurpur, Director, Symbiosis Law School, Pune, to felicitate Mr. Shailesh Gandhi.
I was talking and my peripheral vision seems to be missing. Mr. Nakta, Chairman of PCTT, has just come. He's a retired Chief Commissioner of Income Tax. He's very, very active in the governance.
Thanks, sir. We would also like to welcome at this moment Mr. S.C. Nagpal, Chairman, PCTT Pune Chapter. Mr. Shailesh Gandhi is a first-generation entrepreneur and a distinguished alumnus awardee of IIT Bombay. He sold his company to become an RTI activist. Sir was part of the national RTI movement, which was involved in drafting the National Act. He was convener of the National Campaign for People's Right to Information. He used RTI and also trained many citizens and government officials in over 1,000 workshops to use it. The only RTI activist to have been chosen as a Central Information Commissioner, he disposed a record of over 20,000 cases in 3 years and 9 months and ensured that most cases were decided in less than 90 days. He gave many landmark decisions on RTI, apart from organizing the first digital paperless office in the Commission. He is now at his home in Mumbai to further and deepen RTI to empower citizens to take effective participatory charge of their democracy. He is passionately pursuing the cause of evolving ways for a time-bound justice delivery system and improving governance systems. Amongst many awards he has been awarded, the Nani Palkiwala Civil Liberties Award and the MR Pai Award. It is indeed an honor to have you amongst us today, sir. I would now request sir to kindly address the gathering.
You must identify problems and then you can find solutions. So if you don't like our own rules, then we get the British back. The Americans may be happy to come. Then we have a problem. I don't like my own rule. I don't want anybody from any other country to come and rule. How do we run this nation? Is a question that we must consider. I would like to submit to you that in my opinion, on 15th August 1947, Swaraj never came. It's an illusion and a delusion. What happened on 15th August 1947 was a transfer of Raj from the whites to the browns. The Raj remained. The Raj did not go. We didn't realize it. It was not by design. But the truth is, the Raj continued. Some people say, Mr. Gandhi, how is this possible? Here the world's largest democracy. Why do we call ourselves a democracy? Is it government of the people, for the people, by the people? Is it? Then you should be happy with your rule if you are ruling yourself. Actually, we call ourselves the world's largest democracy primarily because we have elections and the right to vote. Elections, fair and free elections, and a constitution are necessary conditions for a democracy, but they by themselves do not form the complete required conditions. The heart and essence of democracy, my friends, is the concept that each individual citizen is a sovereign in her own right, and she gives a part of the sovereignty to the state, in return for which she gets the rule of law. Sovereignty of the individual citizen is at the heart of democracy, is at the heart of human rights and all liberal moves that we talk about. And that is missing. And how is that missing? Let me just give you two examples. Not because you don't have a telephone, but you are so confident that if I call up a government office on phone, I'll get good rational response. And just one more example I'd like to put before you again. This goes back to over a century back in South Africa. This is a story all of you know. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi got inside that train and he was thrown out because a white man complained. In the same story, there is something else that's mentioned most of us don't focus on. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi complained about what had happened to him by telegram. And in about 12 to 14 hours, the radio official came, put him on the next train. Try and think of the significance of this story. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was a second-rate human being by South African law. He was not a citizen of South Africa, even as a human being. The law as it stood treated him because he was browned as a second-rate human being. Despite that, he complained by telegram and the system responded in 12 to 14 hours. We are all first-rate citizens of this nation. If you file a complaint with the railways, forget 12 to 14 hours. In 12 to 14 months, you'll be lucky if you get even a response. That is what is missing, and that is what slowly we are bringing about to bring the true democracy into this nation. We call this Lok Shahi. Lok Shahi means Logo ki Shahenshah. You man should feel like a beggar, you sir should feel like a Badshah when you deal with the government, but that doesn't happen here. The average citizen doesn't feel a Badshah or a beggar, and that is the root cause of our lack of trust, lack of satisfaction with our governments and governments. It's not to do with individual leaders. It's to do with the entire system. It's to do with empowerment of the individual citizen. Today, if a major catastrophe occurs, if 100,000 of us get together, maybe somebody will listen to us. But one individual citizen's voice is not heard. And that individual citizen has to be empowered. Without that, there is no reasonable human rights. Without that, there is no democracy. Right to information was the first move we got where individual citizen was being recognized and being given a special status. In right to information, if an individual citizen sits at her own home and sends an application, and the officer, public servant does not respond, the public servant is liable to pay a personal penalty from his salary of up to 25,000 rupees. This is a huge thing if you realize it establishes, recognizes the sovereignty of the individual citizen. Just one individual citizen. We have nothing like that in comparison before this. Therefore, right to information is progressing and is doing reasonably well, I would submit. But there's another law in Maharashtra. Right to information gives you information. It cannot redress a grievance. It cannot get action for you, which is a very necessary part. There is an act in Maharashtra, and I call it a confidential act, because nobody knows about it. It's a law, and law is what is written. If you do not implement it, that's at your peril. This law And there's a very peculiar story to this. In 2003, Anna Hazare went on a fast at Azad Maidan in Mumbai. And he had 3 demands. 2 of these were, one was a Right to Information Act for Maharashtra. The second was this act. Right to Information Act was promulgated in Maharashtra. And this law was brought in originally as an ordinance. Subsequently, it was made into a law. But it's almost an unused law. I'm going to tell you about this and something else which is hopefully interesting enough. Okay, the name of this law is Government Servants Regulation of Transfers and Prevention of Delay in Discharge of Official Duties. It's a 14-word name. Perhaps that is the reason why nobody remembers this name. I think people have realized that if you have a 3-word name like Right to Information or RTI, it catches everybody's popular imagination. It's a name they all remember. So I suppose those who drafted this law gave a 14-word name. Yaad nahi rahega, if karenge. It's called Act 21 of 2006, also known as Transfers, Charters and Details Act or Daftari Tiranga Act. There are 3 important parts to this, and we'll focus on the last one, but it's worthwhile looking at the other 2 as well. Section 4 talks of transfers. It says tenure of government servants will be 3 years and transfers will normally be made only in April and May of each year. If an officer has to be transferred for special reasons, in less than his tenure, reasons have to be recorded in writing. I can say, what does this have to do with governance? Huge amount. An average officer, when he gets transferred, he normally takes 3 to 4 months to understand the working of the new office, the new responsibility given to him. Quite often he is transferred in 6 to 8 months. By the time he starts thinking and saying, how do I implement change, how do I bring betterment, he's transferred off. So the satisfaction of doing a job well becomes fairly reduced. Apart from which, you are all aware that transfer is used as a weapon to reward people in what is called plum posts, which means where a lot of bribes can be obtained. And on the other hand, if an officer is very independent and doesn't listen to the political establishment, he again is transferred. By this device, good public servants cannot deliver to citizens, cannot perform well. By design itself. Therefore, this law which says guaranteed tenure for civil servants. Also, why only April and May? Because most government servants have children who are in the school going age. And if you transfer them in October, November, December, it's a very big problem for them. And therefore, this says, as an exception, you may transfer. But has this law been implemented? The answer is no. Things are as it was before, and we'll deal with that a little later. Section 2A and 8 talk of citizens' charters. Just read what this says. Citizens' charter means a list of facilities or services rendered by the office or department, together with the time limit for providing such facility or services. Every office or department shall prepare and publish Citizens' Charter within a period of 6 months from the date of commencement of this Act. If no final decision is taken within the period specified in the Citizens' Charter by the concerned authorities, the responsibility for inaction shall be fixed on them, and action mentioned in the relevant Act, rules or regulations shall be taken against them. Truthfully, if we had a citizen charter that mentioned all services and facilities provided by any department or any office, and there was accountability mentioned in it, we would get far, far better governance. This again has been followed more by default. Some places citizens charters in a very lackadaisical manner have been made. By and large, this has not been done. And nobody has held them accountable. No, we are aware of this. We got talking of so many things. Laws by themselves will not change until citizens get them implemented. And I repeat, law is what is written by a statute. Law is not what somebody wishes to implement. The law in this nation, once it is a statute, has to be followed by the president, the prime minister, chief minister, everybody. In our nation, we've accepted that all laws need not be followed or implemented. That option I would submit to you is open only to Dawood Ibrahim and Arun Gowli and people of that end. They say we will not implement laws, we will not listen to laws, we will listen to what we believe is right. Unfortunately, our governments also have become like that, and we need to do something about this. Citizens Charter. Every office or department must publish Citizens Charter within 6 months. Citizens Charter means a list of facilities or services rendered by the office or department. This should be updated in May each year with inputs from public. If each year we were active and said, make your Citizens Charter firstly because the law mandates this. Things that are missing, we said, please put it to the Citizens Charter. You would have seen Maharashtra's governance becoming the leader in this nation. There is no doubt about it. Now, I've been talking about this and some other people have been talking about it with no result. The government refuses to implement it because they also don't know about the act, and if they know, they say they're not going to implement it. So some of us have been trying to popularize this law, so far unsuccessfully. Therefore, we've now decided to go into a campaign mode and try and enforce the third part of this law. The first two parts are important. Someday we should get all of this implemented. But as a first step, since we are unable to get the law implemented, we are saying, can we run a campaign to enforce the third part of this law, which is extremely important also. What does it say? Section 9 says delegation of powers. The head of every office or department shall publish the list of powers delegated to the subordinate officers working under them for taking final decision. The head of every office or department shall determine as far as possible 3 levels of submission for taking final decision on all matters pertaining to that office or department. Those of us who deal with government here are aware that quite often it's a very favorite game which we play at parties, which is passing the parcel. In government departments, it's called passing the paper. A paper will keep on moving to 10, 15, 20 people until you lose sight of where in the world this paper is. This law stipulates that most things should be decided only by 3 people. Period. And this law says something else, that each government servant shall not keep a file for more than 7 working days. We translate to about 10 working days. When a file lands up at the table of a government servant, it is not meant to hatch eggs. It is meant to be dealt with expeditiously. If you don't do that, governance suffers tremendously, and today governance suffers because a lot of files just don't move, period. They land up somewhere and somebody just neglects them, doesn't look at them, he looks at what perhaps the minister tells him to look at, or what there is a lot of pocket pressure, or the newspapers have reported. That's not the way anything can work. You just imagine if your college said, only when there is an agitation we'll have lectures. There are routines that must be followed if government and governments have to work, and that is not happening. Lists of powers delegated to the subordinate officers, the levels of submission shall be prepared and published 1 year from the date of commencement of this Act, and shall be updated on 1st of April every succeeding year. Not done. This has not been done at all. Now, I am telling you of things that have not been done. Then what's the purpose of this talk? I'll come to that later. Section 10. Every government servant shall be bound to discharge his official duties in the official work assigned pertaining to them most diligently, provided that normally no file shall remain pending with any government servant in the department or office for more than 7 working days. Provided also that in respect of files not required to be... I think this is running short of power. I think this is collaborating with public servants who don't want to follow the law. The The concerned department should take the decision and necessary action in the matter within 45 days. And in respect of files required to be referred to any other department, decision and necessary action shall be taken within 3 months. This is the powerful part of this law. What is a government file? Any application, complaint or representation by public servant, my apologies, a citizen is a file in a government. It's not meant to be thrown away. Effectively, this means for decisions which do not have to be taken by more than one department, in 45 days, no matter what it is, you must get a response. Even if a matter has to be referred to 3 or 4 or 5 departments, it places the responsibility on them to ensure that within 3 months, you get a response and an action. If this happens, normally even if a public servant is corrupt, he will not reject your application unnecessarily. He will not take no action against your complaint if he is forced to respond. But the standard move in most government departments for collecting bribes is just not attending to what you say. Until money is paid, nobody attends to a file. And he says, we haven't taken this. We'll take our decision when we want to. This single part, getting decisions within 45 days, stroke 90 days, can change the face of governance of this state. Hopefully, we can set an example to the nation and get the entire nation to adopt a law like this. Just to summarize, most decisions should be taken in 3 levels. No file should remain with any officer for more than 7 working days. For all files which do not require reference to other departments, decision and necessary action should be taken within 45 days. If there is a delay and it is brought to the attention of the head of department, he must initiate a preliminary inquiry and order disciplinary action if required. People say, and reasonably correctly, that the RTI Act works because there are personal penalties. Financial penalties to be paid by a civil servant, otherwise nobody would have bothered. The RTI Act would also have fallen by the wayside. Most public servants fear disciplinary action more than a financial penalty. In the RTI Act, only if a public servant persistently fails and violates the law, the Information Commission can only recommend disciplinary action. Here, this law talks of initiating disciplinary action for failure. This is huge. Most of us have not understood or realized this. And today, therefore, when you file for violation of this, except rare cases, generally, even your representation is neglected. Also, let me tell you, even within government, what happens to file. Let me just give you 1 or 2 examples of this. I asked an RTI about proposals sent by the Director General of Police in Maharashtra to the Home Department, and how many were delayed by more than 90 days. That's also a fine. And if the Director General of Police sends something to the Home Department, it must be attended to. I was given a list of over 200 proposals sent by DGP which had been hatching eggs in the Home Department with no decision. And amongst those, one of them was, after the 26/11 attack, they had decided that they needed speedboats to man Mumbai's coastline so that such an attack could not take place. So 32 speedboats were bought at a cost of 75 crore rupees.